Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Baka. This is our anime podcast, where every 2 weeks we watch an anime, and then we come together right here and discuss it, and then turn the discussion over to you, the Baka Club, to carry on, because our thoughts don't matter. Let's be frank. You know that. We would have more views if they did. That's just a fact. We, against some host better judgment, decided to watch the second season of Nanbaka. I was a big voter for this. I really wanted it, but it was not just my choice, so do not blame me. Don't blame just me. I deserve some of the credit. We are going to talk about it, but first, let me introduce my co-host. First up, we have the horse that walks into the bar of my bartender, and I say, why the long face? Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I had a bit of a loss for words there.
Longest intro I've heard him say.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. Practiced it. Okay. What you been up to?
Actually, been switching jobs, and I am glad to say I will be growing a beard back ASAP. Yes! So, sorry, Troy, you're going to be all alone again. But also, I discovered the most fantastic thing, and I didn't tell you guys about it because I was saving it for this, but everybody needs to watch this. It is amazing. It is called Transfer 5. It's an old, crappy, cheesy movie, okay? We stumbled across it because, Vaughn Live has crazy channels on it, and we found one that was showing a bunch of old, cheesy, crappy movies like The Eliminators, which was amazing. But Transfer 5... just watch the introduction where the narrator gives you a recap of transfers 1 through 4, because he does an amazing job of telling you a story that is so cliched and so stupid, and it's so backwards. I mean, if you look at how things are today culturally and you compare it to when this movie was made, it's brilliant. It's like you couldn't deliberately say the things they said. It's amazing. I loved it. I laughed so hard. I couldn't finish the show. It sucked. It was stupid. But just watch the narration of the recap. It's amazing. Transfer 5 with Jack Death as the main bounty hunter, transdimensional bounty hunter.
Jack Death. That's an
Jack
amazing
Death.
name.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Your recommendations always come with a little wariness for me. I'm completely honest with you. You know I love you.
Yeah.
But after we talked about our favorite video games and you listed yours, I'm like, I don't know if I trust all his opinions anymore.
Well, you can't judge till you try it, man.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. Okay, let's move on to our other host. This is the second guy to walk in the bar, and he probably should have ducked. How you doing, Jason?
Guess I'd rather be a duck than a horse. Anyways.
These are bad jokes for a bad season of anime.
It all makes sense.
Doing fantastic.
What you been up to?
Trying to catch my stride with Heroes of the Storm. In the past, I've fairly despised it because it's basically communism, the video game. But it's
accurate.
As far as the XP, yeah.
There's no gold, and everyone shares experience. So.
What did I say to you today? Like when we won the game and people are voting for MVP, and I'm like, you don't get anything. It's just good job, comrade.
So, how's the picture to my overlay, Troy?
Oh, nice.
Okay, so those watching the YouTube video notice my name is missing because my computer is virus laden and.
That's usually Jeremy.
Don't worry about downloading this podcast. It's completely safe. It goes through Jeremy's computer.
Yeah.
Actually, that's where you should worry.
Well, my computer doesn't have viruses. It just has bugs.
Just bugs.
Just bugs.
I've been really good.
Good.
Today I got to watched the newest episode of My Hero Academia, and I said I was going to stop talking about it, and I meant to, but this anime is doing something that no other battle anime is doing. It had a huge fight between two major characters. There was flashbacks and backstory that were all good. The fight was so good. The backstory was so emotional, and it did it all in one episode. Like, they started the flashback, and I'm like, oh, I guess we'll see the fight next week. Nope. Got to see the whole fight. The flashback was prompt. It was precise. It was amazing. This show is setting a new bar for shonen battle anime.
I hope they take notes. I do.
Besides that, I got to go to Seattle and see Jason, and so not all good news. Yeah.
He got me a sunburn, so that was fantastic.
You got me a sunburn. You wanted to go to the park.
Why didn't I just sit around and do nothing?
Well, that's not my vote. My vote, we sit around and do nothing.
Those burgers were fantastic, though. So there's that.
Burgers and sunburns.
Oh, my mom cooked the burgers, so I can't even argue. Not allowed. Okay.
So are you saying you would argue if you could?
I'm just saying I can make better.
Oh!
Mom don't listen to this anime podcast, does she?
I know.
I have secrets. I've evolved past my mom's own cooking. She taught me well, but now I've become the master.
I can't wait to share this clip. Anyways.
Mom. Okay, let's talk about the anime, because that should go better than the rest of this. Like I said, we watched Nanbaka Season 2. I already introduced all the writers and directors and studio in the last episode, so I'm not even going to put myself through that again.
Not even for me? It's so much fun.
I know you enjoy it. So we're going to go straight to our non-spoiler reviews. For those who haven't seen it, you can let this help you decide if you want to see it. Afterwards, then we'll start going into the story. So who wants to go first? Because it's not me.
I don't mind going first. I think I'm a little bit in the minority, unless Jeremy's more on my page than I think he is. That I thought this season was better than last season as far as storytelling wise, and being able to take it not as serious, but also the silliness was not as prominent, and I enjoyed that about the anime. Did I like it? I didn't hate it, but I also didn't look forward to the next episode. So,
if we weren't doing a podcast for it, you probably would have just stopped and been like, "Yeah, that was a thing."
Yeah, I probably would never have seen the second season because I would have started with the first. And but I was happy to see some particular story developments happen, and I was also happy to see a little bit more character growth out of some of the characters. But yeah, it's meh for me.
Okay,
meh for me as well.
We should make that official rating.
Yeah, that's it right there, man.
Troy picks an anime, just call it meh. Move on.
I agree with Jason. It took more of a story direction, but I think that's where I have a little bit of an issue with it. Is I think that the story wasn't good enough or fantastic enough for me, and the humor wasn't entertaining enough for me. So because it seemed like they shifted it, it still wound up not being good enough on either level for me to really be entertained. So, I got to say pass even on season 2. I will agree that it was better story-wise. Totally agree with that. I just don't think the story stands up to anime that are designed for story.
For me, I agree that the story felt more focused, so I do think that helped it. It didn't feel like we were all over the place, and by the time we figured out what the story was going, we were in the last episode. The story was very focused, but also very similar. In my notes, some of these are only like half a page. And normally I'm like fighting for room because just not a lot happened. To me, this season felt like we fell into a lot of anime cliches, very stereotypical anime. Battles, flashbacks. I just talked about it with My Hero Academia, how good it was. It wasn't so great here. the jokes didn't come. I was enjoying the first 2 episodes because they were very silly, and then I mean it's not awful, and I do really still like the characters, especially the main 4 and their friendship and how much they mean to each other. I find a connection with that, but this felt like a filler season to me, and I detest those. I hate them. Can't stand filler seasons. So that's but I don't think that brought me down below you guys. Like I still probably like this anime more than you did in terms of scale. I came down, Jason came up, and Jeremy, he's just meh.
Right there where I was before, probably.
So that is our spoiler-free review. If that didn't sell it to you, I don't know what's going on. But we're going to go ahead and go on to the spoiler-filled section where we talk about the plot, the characters. One good thing about this season is a lot of background characters, got moved into the forefront with backstory, so we can talk about them more than other stuff. So there is plenty to talk about with this season of the anime, so that should be good. And we start kind of right where we left off, except for we're back in Namba Prison, which is the greatest prison in all the world, located off the coast of Japan. And we have the 4 Nanbakas, who are the greatest prison escapees of all time, and they escape out of their cell on a regular basis for fun, but they never actually try to leave. And the first episode is really just a typical day for everyone, and the narrator keeps pointing out, like, all right, remember how everything was action-packed at the end of last season? Let's go find some action. And then there's like, hey, we got a cactus in our cell. Boop. And that's the jokes.
I need to say right up front, the first 2 or 3 episodes of this season made me want to stop watching. They were just dumb, absolutely dumb.
Yeah.
The jokes fell flat, and the narrator was pissing me off because he was trying to be overtly condescending. It felt.
I don't remember the first few episodes.
Really?
You called out one of the jokes. We talked about this before, how they were even repeating some jokes from last season. They did the whole the warden beating up a guy right before Hajime, her crush, walks in, and she's like, "Didn't I just do this like 4 episodes ago?"
Actually,
right.
Okay, so I'll give you that. That joke was good.
Yeah.
I laughed because he's like, "How often does this happen?"
Yeah, they
and
did
that's
that
the thing.
with more than one thing. But go on.
And that's the thing with this anime is their situational humor is spot on for me. I chuckled and laughed way more than I didn't laugh at all at the last season, but there's actually quite a few jokes that actually landed for me because they were situational. They weren't these stupid, silly. Well, I don't like them. I shouldn't call them stupid. But I don't like the silly comedy that the first season brought.
Right. I really like the fourth wall breaking when they do it. To me that's like Deadpool comedy. I like fourth wall comedy. And they do that a couple times in the first 2 episodes. Deadpool does it better. I'm not saying that exactly the same. I'm just saying I enjoy that type of comedy. So I liked it when they pointed out. I just did this 4 episodes ago. Like, everyone in this show realizes they're in a show.
Right.
Well, I mean, even to the point where the first episode is called "This is a Comedy Anime," which I thought it was so on the nose that I was like, okay, they know what they are, and they are going to go full bore with this now, and we're going to have like Dragon Ball Z Abridged, right? Mm-hmm. Where every second I am just loving it. But yeah, no, it was silly shenanigans, and many of them, I totally agree. They just not that great.
Okay, so we talked about them last season, but we're going to talk about the characters here, and I kind of just lumped all 5 of these characters together because we talked about them so much in the last episode. All the Nanbakas who are Jugo, Uno, Nico, and Rock, and Hajime, who's the guard in charge of their building. Did you guys have any change in your thoughts on them? What did you think of their story arcs throughout this season?
Again, the situational comedy between specifically Jugo and Hajime, I always enjoy. Whether I crack a smile or laugh, I usually do it when those 2 are involved, especially with their fighting amongst each other. And I enjoyed Jugo's journey a little more, because it did turn out from, okay, I kind of understand what I am, but now there's this threat, and how do I grow as a person? And I thought they did okay with that. The rest of the three kind of fell flat this season for me. I mean, except for Uno. Uno did all right.
I think you like Nico.
There was one scene where Nico shined, was when Nico didn't have Nico meds, and Nico lost his Nico mind.
He wasn't Nico anymore. Yeah. I totally agree. Again, Jugo had good development, but Rock was sadly missing through a very large portion of the anime of this season. Otherwise, it felt even more like a harem anime to me than the first season. I'll say that too.
I actually started to see that. You had talked about that last night. I didn't really agree with you last season, but I started to see that more here because of the trope of he's a loser, but there's something special about him, and how characters kept saying, Liang and these other characters are like, maybe there is something special about him. Maybe I'm starting to see it too. That's a very harem trope.
Yep.
Absolutely right. It did shine more this time. Like,
there were a lot of glamour shots.
Funny and Troas. Trace. Yeah. They did the same thing.
Like, everybody that he encountered eventually had a glamour shot where they were complimenting him for being simple.
What about you, Troy? What do you think of the 5?
I don't fully agree with Jugo's arc being great. I felt it was
I did not say great. Let's
just relative terms there.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, relative.
I'm having trouble articulating this. Okay, so it was they did a good job of showing his development. However, I feel like he had that exact same development in the last episode only of the last season, where he goes to escape and then his friends save him and he's like, okay, I have worth and stuff. And now he's contemplating those exact same things again. And we see it over a longer period of time and it grows more naturally, but he's still getting back to the same point he was at the end of last season. That's why that is one of the things that hit the filler button in my mind. It was like, that's a very filler thing where you can't have the character actually develop, so you either have him redevelop what they just did. That Naruto did that all the time with like Sasuke. They'd have him get pissed and then he'd be okay, and then they'd do a filler arc and he'd have to do that all over again for no good reason. I saw that a little bit with Jugo's story here, but like I said, it's probably better to do it over an entire season like they did here than in one episode real fast.
Yeah.
So that's a little torn on that.
And also what frustrated me, it's you mentioned that or maybe Jeremy did, that Brock was missing and Nico didn't get a lot of screen time, and like a lot of the characters that we got to actually get to know last season,
Omako
had some sort of thing happen to them and then they disappear for the anime, and to make room for these other side characters that honestly I didn't care about, nor last season or this season. So it's
like the camera. It's like the camera zoomed into the nosebleed section. They're like, these guys are important too.
Yeah, yep. One character I want to call out that I really liked was Uno. I still really like that character. I like the entire Nanbaka, the main four's relationship, their friendship. And Uno is really the heart of that and the one that holds them together. He's the one who looks out for everybody. He notices Nico doesn't have his medicine. He's grabbing Jugo and pulling him because he knows he's worthless. So worthless they have to bathe him every night or he'll drown.
Oh, God. Yeah. I did like the consistency of Uno never being able to fight. And you don't always see that.
Everyone else is pulling out these special abilities, and Uno, all he has is that he can read people well. And you saw that for like a hot second, and then it's like, no, but I'm not a fighter. But that's actually what I really like about him, is that he has been way over his head with all this. He has no special abilities, but he cares the most. So I'm not leaving you. I'm going on this dangerous thing too.
Because you're special.
Fair enough. And then Hajime felt very much the same, even though I think Hajime's straight man act and delights me.
Actually, that's another thing that I really liked was when Uno would back Hajime into a corner because Hajime despises extra work.
That was a good moment.
The final scene when he's trying to weigh the options of saving the other guard, and he's like, "Oh, but it will be more work if I don't let him out, and that could be a bad mark on my reputation, and then I'd have that. Then I'd probably just give me more work." Like,
Uno's like, "Are you gonna take us with you, or are we gonna escape?" He's like, "Oh, even if I assign someone else here, they're never gonna be able to catch him. I'm the only one that can catch him."
Last season, I complained about like I can't figure this guy out, and I think it was you, Jeremy. You nailed it right on the head. He cares about his work. And that's all he cares about.
Yep,
and they showed that so much better here, and you nailed it last season.
Yeah. I thought, like you guys are saying, some of the best moments did revolve around him, joke-wise. It was so sad that he was not present for a significant portion, or at least powerless.
Well, and he was definitely gone during the non-comedy portion.
Yes. But I think that's probably because he is such a significant player. He's such a combat powerhouse. If you do have him there, the combat's over.
Well, yeah, because definitely the way this whole season built is if we get to Hajime, we have a chance. Yeah. And then, he steps out and kills 5 guys with one punch.
Yeah. See, One Punch Man, I tell you, man, he is Saitama. He's just cameoing in this.
So I'm gonna call out some things that happened in this this first episode. We re-meet Ku the cat, and we find out it's Hajime's cat, and he's second in charge of the building because he's been there longer than the other guys.
He's not supposed to have a cat.
Yeah, that's true too. And the cat loves the prisoners. The cat goes where everyone loves the cat, but he's not supposed to be there. Did anyone like Yamato better? You guys didn't like Yamato last season. Did you like him better? I still really like that character.
I liked him just as much as I did the last season, which
you hated him.
That's what I'm saying. I like him
just as much. Okay.
But the issue was he disappeared for the entire anime.
Yeah.
Except for the next episode, which I'll talk about in a second. Other things that happened, because of Nico, Jugo. Yeah, there was the first episode. The worst thing. At least they're consistent about it, though. I mean, that's definitely a character trait. It's not because it was a robot. It's just everything that's female to them is a prey.
That's the only hot girl in the entire prison, right? So,
and then as soon as they see another hot girl, they're asking her.
Yeah,
why would I be wearing a bra?
Yes.
Okay, in this first episode, hold on.
Yeah,
Jugo gets a cat head.
I don't understand what happened there.
Nico happened.
Nico's power.
The magic of Nico.
And then everyone's hair color swaps because of Nico as well. And only Hajime is immune. Which
that was good.
I
like that, actually.
I like the narrator's reaction to it. He's like, see, we're funny when they know it's not that funny. And he's like pushing it like, please think we're funny. See, it was kind of a good meta joke almost.
Well, I mean, it almost sounds like you're falling down and tripping, and then you're trying to say, I meant to do that, It's like, but the reason I liked the hair color change was because I thought, wow, this is really interesting, and if they keep this for like 6 or 7 episodes, it's going to really throw off my perceptions of these characters, because honestly, visuals has a really significant effect on who you think the different characters are, and all you have to do is just change a few things about them and leave it that way for a little while, and you're watching a little bit of a different anime. So I wish they'd kept it and not just brought it back before the end of the anime.
I wish they wouldn't have even brought it up.
Yeah, for the most part, it was a lame joke. I thought
it was lame, but it was cool to see.
And the cat face thing was just
it was weird. It was almost like just a reason to reintroduce the infirmary. Like, don't forget, there's a hospital here
because there's going to be some characters spending a lot of time there.
Important, yeah. The next episode, new guards arrive to the prison, and Building 13 gets a new guard which turns out only to be for the day, but they don't know that. And Hajime's really upset because that means he's got to train, but it ends up being his brother, which leads into a whole bunch of hijinks because the Nambakas don't believe they could be related because the brother's so adorable. And I really, in this episode, I really like Jugo riding around on Yamato's shoulders because he's so worthless that he just climbs up on top of this guard, and the guard's like, yeah, let's run around. And then they get lost anyway because this guard can't ever go the right way. We find out, though, that the Hajime's brother is also a freak like him, and he throws his brother as a weapon and swings him as a weapon. And then that's about it.
It doesn't even hurt him. Like, he breaks down an iron door.
Yeah.
With him as a club. Like, he's
Yes.
got his brother by the feet and just tears through this iron door, and his brother's just like, oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay. You guys have both neglected to remind the audience that his brother is dressed in the most beautiful dress with pigtails as well. Like,
his brother dresses as a woman, and is the cutest character in the entire anime. And
so he's beating the wall with that. And he's throwing that head first like a spear, so it sticks in the wall with just the dress and feet sticking out.
Concrete wall, by the way.
A concrete wall.
Really-
that was good.
I really like the scene near the start of this episode where Rock and Uno are like, yeah, she's really, really cute, really hot. And Jugo's like, you remember it's a dude. Don't ruin this for us.
Exactly. That was great.
Prison life is hard, guys.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, it's only for the day. Gets to spend the day with his big brother. And then he's assigned to Building 4. And Honey and Choice harass him, and then we get an ominous somebody sitting in the basement of one of these buildings, and that ends up being
It even surprises the narrator.
right because he thought it was just going to be another silly thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended up being for real.
Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun.
Yep.
Yeah, we never even get to meet this character. Okay.
Not really.
I mean, a lot of stuff happens in the next episode that kind of went over my head. Like, new characters are introduced rapidly. There's a new guard for Building 5. And then his sister shows up, who I thought was Goku. Now, I called this character Goku in the last episode because that's how they referred to him in season 1. His actually name is Salmon.
Call him Salmon, I guess. He's a fish.
He's a monkey.
He's a monkey fish.
I'll call him Simone. Simone Goku, who is the head of Building 5 and Hajime's rival, one of Hajime's rivals. He meets this sister, and they obviously have a history, but we never get to expound on this in this season.
I wonder, he called her big sister, but so did like multiple other people, like as if that was her name or title. And I don't think they're related.
No, I would think it's probably a prison station that she
I
held
thought
up
it was
on.
Enki's fiance was what I was thinking, because she doesn't know. Okay, so we find out Simone has a brother named Enki who used to be in charge of Building 5. He killed an inmate and is now a prisoner as well. She doesn't know that. He hides it from her. She doesn't know Enki is in prison. And she's like, oh, is Enki here? And she brought him treats. And he's like, he's not. He's busy. So I wonder if that's his girlfriend. And that would, if that was a fiance, that would explain why he called her big sister, because that would be his big sister-in-law. But again, we see this character one more time in the hospital, unconscious. And we never get an explanation.
Yep.
And since we will definitely not be doing season 3, you're on your own, guys.
Yeah. There's probably a manga. Go read that. You'll find out.
Let's talk about Simone Goku, though, because he gets a lot of screen time and he is a major element of this season. So what did you guys think of this character?
I don't really have any other thoughts from the first season. I did like his training style, though. Beat someone to a pulp and then give them a lesson. And I liked his lesson. His lesson was you were doing okay until you lost your anger, and then and then you
Right,
were
because he fights Rock in the beginning.
Yeah,
Rock,
and then he's like,
Rock's
"You're
I
easy to
can
take."
fight.
Yeah, then you're easy to take down. That's your lesson for today.
Which is totally hypocritical for him,
Right.
but it was entertaining.
Is
Yeah.
Building 5 the only one that's allowed to exercise?
Well, Yamato exercises constantly.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he
true.
is
But
making
everyone's
them
visiting.
exercise.
So at the start of in this episode, everyone's visiting Building 5 to work out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think
don't
it's
know.
just because of the caliber of fighters there that they can train with.
Okay.
Draw him in. I actually liked Goku a fair amount. I thought they did a good job of establishing an interesting backstory as far as his relationship with Hajime. And it lent more credence to his behavior. But I don't know. Having so many characters and devoting just enough time to them to give us a little taste, well, everything else didn't measure up to make that good enough. Like I don't know. I keep second guessing myself because I'm like, well, I like this and I like that. So I'm still trying to figure out, well, why didn't I like it then? There's a lot of things I liked.
They made me like this character. I didn't really care about him or care for him last season. The interesting backstory they gave him of that he kind of inherited this job. He didn't really earn it like everyone else. But he is a good guard, and he actually honestly cares about the prisoners, probably more so than we've seen with. Well, Kiji might care the most, dressing them
For
up and stuff.
other reasons.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he's like he beats him up, but he trains him, and he's like giving him advice. And we see flashbacks of him being nice to Upa, and the amount of these prisoners and guards have crisscrossed in different prisons is. You can't ever take time to think about it. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a crazy web. Yep.
Yeah, and then he meets that big sister, and we kind of learn about the incident. When Rock and Yamato come back from their exercise, they're all freaked out or acting weird, and they attack. Yamato attacks Hajime, and that doesn't go well at all. He does put poor Saitaru into a wall and into the infirmary, but Hajime beats him up and then is like, "Oh man, the papers are everywhere." Yeah, Jugo is not so lucky. Rock beats him pretty bad. And he's trying to get into the cell with Uno and Nico, and Jugo will not open it for him, so he gets beat up. And then everyone's favorite pretend actor Ninja shows up, who's been real training, so maybe he's not hopeless anymore.
He's been training with Yamato just about every day, and we all know how much Yamato trains. So that's what made this fairly believable, that he had some skill at this point.
We even get a flashback at one point of Yamato and Rock taking a break, and he's like, "No, I'm going to keep training."
Yeah.
But he manages. So they find out they have these talismans on the back of their necks that are controlling them. Hajime just takes off Yamato because he already beat him to a pulp, and the ninja is able to get it off of Rock. Everyone who was involved gets in the hospital, and Hajime has to go to Building 5, and Momoko is left the entire anime, apparently.
Yep. Forever.
Season 1. No, she had to go to the mainland to help with crime. She's meeting the police commissioner. There was a reason.
There was a meeting with the police commissioner.
It's really just so that she can't get involved with all this and know about all this.
They're probably going to introduce some kind of crazy new inmate that she'll bring back because of something with the police commissioner.
Right. I assume she's going to be the most powerful of the guards. And
that was established last season.
Okay.
Well, we never saw her go toe-to-toe with Hajime, but he's certainly scared of her. But that could just be job-related. I don't know.
Yeah. But I assume she's super powerful, and that if she was there, it wouldn't make any sense that she couldn't stop it at will.
I have a feeling this was, we'll find out later that the whole breakout of Enki this is part of the plan, was getting her off the island.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
No, I didn't even think about that. I thought it was just a coincidence for narrative reasons.
Oh. Yeah. That's very interesting.
Because the reason didn't make a lot of sense for her job description. It's like, You're the warden of a prison. What would you have to do with investigative detective work? So
That's true.
Unless it has something to do with the human experimentation going on, possibly in her prison.
But
I don't think
watch
she knows
season
about
3.
that.
You'll find out.
Yeah.
So Hajime is going to go visit Building 5, and Uno comes to him and is like, yeah, we're going too. And he's like, no, you're not. That sounds like a pain. And he's like, yeah, but I'm going to break out and do it anyway, so you might as well take me. Because then you got to fill out paperwork for catching me. and there's a great cut where it says 10 minutes later, and Hajime is still sitting there beating a wall with holes in it, processing how to get out of this. And then he eventually relents, like, okay, I'll take you guys. So he takes Jugo and Uno and Nico to Building 5. Comms have gone silent there, and the door opens for them, and they're able to go inside the building. And immediately this giant cage comes down. This is one of my favorite scenes of this thing, so I'm probably over-describe it. Hajime turns and is like, what'd you guys do? We didn't do anything. You got captured doing nothing? Well, technically, you got captured in the cage. And then they just laugh at him. They don't
Call a
help
monkey in a cage or gorilla in a cage.
He gets shackles put on him, and they laugh even more. And then they fall through a floor, and he just gives them the middle finger. Does not care less. And they even call that out as they fall. You don't care about us. The whole sequence made me laugh. Someone in this anime said, "Don't think, feel," and I just remember thinking of Frozen. Like, really copying.
Yeah, we could move past that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I took it and applied it to my life, but sure, it doesn't matter.
those rules for you, doesn't it?
I don't like the feels.
Before we move on, do we have anything to say about the villain that we hardly meet, Enki?
At this point, I hate him.
Yes.
He's just a stupid plot device right now. I really don't like him. There was one thing, and that was
bitter because you didn't get to meet him.
I am, because they introduced him, and he's this big important character, and then what? You insult the observer? The one thing that I did like about it was that we got to hear what his number was, and I'd been paying attention to the intro sequence where it shows the numbers at the very, very beginning, and I saw that there's 3 numbers that don't start with 00 or whatever, or 101 or something like that.
So you went from not ever watching the ending to paying super close attention to the opening?
Okay, so when I start an episode, it always flashes up with the number first, right? And so by the time that I can click to fast forward, it'll start showing other numbers. And so I'm like, wait a minute, I know those numbers. I know who they are. And I was like, okay, so that's this person. And when I checked it all out, I was like, okay, so this is all the characters that we know that are prisoners, but there's 3 more numbers that I don't know. And these numbers start with like 5 something and 6 something. And he's one of them. And presumably that fishy guy was another one. And then probably when we meet him, Hachiman was maybe the 6100 character. I'm not sure. So
for being in the underground prison, is that why?
Yeah, they got
numbers mean.
Yep. 56, 59, 61, something like that.
The problem I had with this character is he unfortunately brought in a lot of smoke and mirrors to the timeline. Like, because not only has he worked at different prisons, specifically in China, correct?
I don't know.
Right.
Most of these characters are from China in this.
Yeah, and they brought with them like
Building 5 is like the China building.
Yeah, but they brought like crazy murder bots. And anyways,
who have blood?
Yeah, I know. And organs, and they're just like humans for some reason, built like humans.
Right, but they're machines. Anyways, but the problem is that you've got now this scene where Jugo has bested Enki, but didn't kill him. When did this happen? Right. When did the experimentation happen? And how old is Jugo? Like, where did he find time to like bust all these people out of prison? Where did he find time to learn all these skills that he's got? And apparently he's been in prison since he was like 2. And
he was born in prison. His father was a prisoner. His father was the ultimate prisoner.
Babies don't come
also
from
had
dudes.
his incident. Is Enki his dad? Enki can't be his dad.
Enki's not his dad.
I don't think he was
No,
ever
Enki's-
born. I think he was made.
Enki is
No. Momoko specifically referred to Jugo's father. I guess that could be the scientist
There
making.
you go. That's what I think.
But and then at the same breath mention an incident and how it was the biggest embarrassment Nanbaka had ever had. Or
Which would be Enki killing someone.
could be Yankee killing someone.
Enki's not Japanese. I thought,
Oh yeah.
and that's the problem is that they're trying to spice up the storyline, and they didn't need to.
I agree,
So-
but at the same time, I don't know though, because those numbers were there in the first season too. So they had this fully intended to go
That's-
from the beginning.
That's fine, but Enki's boring at this point.
I agree with that.
I also didn't really like that one of our characters from last season turned out to be a traitor, especially in a comedy anime where I'm like, oh, I like all these characters and they're all funny and I like them all, and then suddenly he's like, no, this guy was a villain the whole time.
The orc?
Yeah, the orc guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think his name is like Inori.
Yeah, that sounds right. Which is
that
usually
would
a
be-
heroine's name, like a girl heroine.
Yeah, it makes sense in a drama anime, but in a comedy anime where you're like, hey, like these characters and laugh at them, to have one of them betray me personally, hurts. It hurts, guys.
He's the rice pounder. That's what he was.
He was. Yeah, that's right. That was his plot line. And in
Your
this
heart
one,
was in
he
there.
was lazy. That was the other thing we learned about him this season. He was lazy.
Yeah, he's like, just pretend to watch The Prisoners. It's fine.
Yep.
So the next episode, the Nambakas minus Rock, who was minus for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So
He's gone.
just so you know.
Same with Yamato.
Yep.
Yeah. Poor sweet Yamato. The
And
Nambakas.
Hajime.
Okay, guys, we get it.
And Momoko.
Any more?
Big sister.
Well, I mean, there was that sister. Yeah.
Sakuro.
all right, let's
The,
continue.
the robot nurse. Go ahead.
They slide. Oh gosh, dang it! Slide into the cell, and Liang and Upa are there. They've also been captured, and the creepy surveillance dolls walk by. There is a good joke there about not letting Uno see it because it would freak him out, and every time he gets close to one, he starts to actually freak out. I didn't quite understand why, but it was funny the consistency of it.
I did like how he was just like, "What is it?" They're like, "Shh, be quiet. No, something's going.
attract
What
more."
is it?"
Yep.
Again, we kind of already touched on it. We don't really know what these dolls are. They are a science oddity.
Yep.
They are red shirts for our heroes to kill without remorse.
Yes, because there has been no killing in the anime so far.
Yeah. It's possible that they are Jugo 1.0, and this is Jugo 2.0.
That'd be interesting if you're right. I don't think you are.
Probably
But that
not.
would be interesting.
But that would explain why he's not good at anything.
Yeah, and they have weapons in their bodies. You know.
No, they've got stabs. What are you talking about?
They also have.
No, remember?
They mentioned they have weapons hidden in
Yeah.
their bodies.
When Troyes was taking one apart, he's like,
Oh.
"Oh, they have weapons inside of their bodies."
Oh, okay.
Hajime and Simone are put in opposite cells where they argue, not very frequently for the rest of the anime.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the argument scenes were pretty funny. I did enjoy those.
Yeah, their different priorities of the situation was good, and how even when they're like should be sympathetic to each other, they just can't be. Just hate each
Yeah. Yep. It always escalates.
other. You're being annoying.
Yeah.
The main guys, they learn about Enki and what happened, and one important thing is that Nico lost his medicine, and the character Key,
Is that the pharmacist?
the pharmacist, he has switched sides. He is working for Enki, and he took them.
Don't know when, but he's apparently stealthy like a ninja.
Right. Well, I mean, he finds secret passageways and stuff, so could be.
Conveniently. Yeah.
So this group decides that the only thing they need to do is go to get Hajime. Anything else will work out badly for them. They won't be able to get out. And they need to get Jugo there because he can unlock everything. That becomes a major plot point. He is their master key to this building.
Key to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's the reactions of Honey and Choice to him. They're like, oh, we can't tamper with these things. They'll blow up our hands. Oh my God, they're off.
Right.
Yep.
And they meet, that's actually what happens next. They meet Honey and Choice. So now we have Upa, Liang, Honey, and Choice. And
I thought it was kind of a weird cheesiness when they freed Liang, and he's like, "Oh, I finally understand what you gave freedom means. Oh, I see it. Your shackles just freaking fell off. It's not that big a deal. It's not like revelational. But anyway,
he gave him the power to protect people.
Oh, I don't know. It's very weak, and it's like it's being pushed way heavier than it really is.
And it's very cliche anime, and that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, this is so stereotypical, not creative anime. It's very on the tracks of what every other thing has ever done.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All the things.
Yes.
Let's talk about Upa and Liang here, because they get their big scene coming up next, where we get their backstories. We get to see them battle more than just in a silly New Year's tournament. So, we didn't really talk about them last episode because they hardly had any screen time and they weren't really important. These side characters are now a major thing. We spend a lot of time with them. So what did you guys think?
I liked Upa's backstory, and I liked watching Liang turn into a better fighter.
I like Liang's backstory better.
I liked his. I like the scene where he's parrying the blades and then he breaks one. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, when I look back on the anime as a whole, I don't really care about those two.
I don't know. I think when it comes to good storytelling and how interesting that the characters were to me, they were certainly more interesting than Honey and Troy. Rock was out of the picture so long. The way that the characters were cut down and what I had to choose from, I actually liked the backstory of these guys enough so that they were more entertaining than a lot of the rest. Especially
in most battle animes, when a backstory comes up, I'm like, let's get back to what matters. I actually was kind of liking the backstories more than the regular stuff.
Yeah.
In these sections. Liang's betrayal by his master, who sells him out and gives him to Hachiman number 18, the pig mask guy.
Mm-hmm.
And how
unnecessary storyline.
It is, but everything in this is.
Yeah, watching it for a second season was unnecessary. But anyways,
hey, that's a micro.
Unless you did, listeners, in which case, thank you.
Oh. I actually really liked that too, because it was the sense that this Hachiman was just trying to make a point that nobody cares about anything beyond their own skin and how much they can get away with in their life. They're not going to protect you at the cost of everything that they've built, including their own life and the rest of their students. Yeah, it's that simple principle of the one or the many. And that decision is always hard to make because it's easy to stand back and judge when you're not in the seat that has to make that decision. But so that was really interesting. And then in the end, we see that it kind of folds back on Hachiman, and you see that he's just like everybody else. He's just a jackass that wants to stand there and have a power trip over everybody else. But I liked that, bullet point of progression through that kind of a story.
I like that Liang is the assassin who's never killed anyone.
That is cool.
I thought that was it's at least interesting, and the way it was called out, like, I know that you're not killing anyone. It was key that says in the flashback is like, what I'm giving you to poison people, that's not poison, and you know it. And when you get caught, it's going to be bad. And when he gets caught, it was bad.
Oh yeah. I also liked how he's like, where are you taking them? Like, what are you doing with all these unconscious people, Liang?
And then I didn't really understand Upa's backstory other than he was organ harvesting.
Nah, he was special to the research facility because of his high Qigong abilities. But then, so they kidnapped him and harvested his organs. and then told him that apparently because he survived because of his strong qigong connection, told him that his parents were dead. Or
No, I thought his parents were told he was dead. I thought he said that, like, they need to think I'm dead.
Wasn't that what Goku Salmon like told his parents, and he was super impressed and happy about that?
No,
right, and he was like, my parents need to think I'm dead. He's like, no, that's silly. I fixed it. So I thought
not need to think. They just thought he was dead.
Right.
Yeah.
But he was upset when he first found out, like, this is from your parents. He was like, my parents know I'm alive. They didn't know I was alive. He's like, all right, I fixed it. I told him. Who cares?
Yeah. I don't.
Your parents should know.
I don't understand his backstory completely. It has a few moments that I am completely lost in. For instance, Chi, the pharmacist. When did he encounter him? At what place was he working? Because when we see his backstory, we learn that he's an herbalist that was basically forced to join this gang. And then slowly it was revealed that, your medicines are actually poisons, that I'm turning them into poisons and selling them. And now you're going to make poisons outright for me, and we'll just sell it that way. So at what point, like, was it before that he was working at a research institute, or was it during that stint? I don't know when he found Upa.
It was during.
So if it was during, was it during the time that he was just making medicine, but he was also working in with other...
No, it's when he was literally working for Hachiman, because Hachiman was the one harvesting Upa's organs.
Yeah.
Because he held him up to it, like, this stuff is selling like hotcakes.
That was Upa's organs? I thought that was the stuff that the pharmacist made.
It was the little red bits in blue goo. And and then they showed Upa's...
See, and that's so weird because Chi then says, take my organs, put some of my organs inside of him.
Right.
The pharmacist says that, which that's weird. Like, maybe that's why he's actually got that thing on his forehead, that talisman, is so that he doesn't burn out those organs because they can't handle his Chi. But I don't know. I'm still confused on the timeline. I don't know. It doesn't set right with me.
I don't think they thought about it really well either.
No.
Maybe,
just like everyone's prison life, that they all knew each other in prison. They all went to the same prisons, but now they're all in this prison.
Well, another thing that's really weird is, like,
this is not
they say that. Well, they say that his organs are really valuable, right? That's what Hachiman says. If those are his organs are really valuable. That doesn't, to me, come across like someone's going to buy it and then have a surgeon put the organs inside of them. That comes across to me like a Chinese apothecary where they're going to sell you bull penis extract, And so how is he going to get his organs back? Are they actually being put in other people and not just consumed because of virility or something?
I think a product is being made out of them. So they've been crushed.
How's he going to get it back? He says, I'm working to buy them back. That was his whole point in working for Hachiman.
He did say that. I think they told him he could get them back. Maybe he didn't know.
Maybe he was lied to. No, people are eating your organs, man.
So we find the main group running from these dolls and these traps, and they hide in a management office, which it leads to some backstory, but it didn't tell us anything. It led to that flashback of Jugo fighting Enki at some point in their past, because there's files in the room. It was really...
I didn't get the impression that was a flashback Jugo was thinking or remembering. It just was like, hey, audience, this is for you. Instead, it kind of seemed like Jugo just saw that, there's a document in here showing that I was one of the experiments. But yeah, you're right. We have absolutely no idea just how much information was revealed in that document, but it was enough to completely freak him out. But maybe that's easy. It's Jugo. Thinking isn't his strong suit.
Yeah, nothing. We've got one strong suit. They get to the stairs. They're about to go down to the next level, and they're attacked by one of the guards. I didn't write his name. It's a guard, and he's got a talisman on it, so he's being controlled by another villain. Upa and Liang push the group down the stairs and like, you guys go. We got this. And of course, their former mob boss comes out. He wears a pig mask. He's always worn a pig mask. It's weird they let him keep the pig mask. Not sure prisons that you keep your costumes.
Can I mention just one thing that really irritated me about this character? He's I didn't even get permission. I'm gonna do it anyways. He is literally the size of 27 people in one person, and he can move like Bruce Lee. Like the guy is super fast. It's like, give me a break. You're fighting two agile, accomplished fighters, and you're the size of this hallway, and they can't hit you.
This is an anime. Have you ever heard of Fat Boo?
Fat Boo wasn't as big as this guy. And also, he took hits over and over and over again.
That's true. This guy dodged or blocked everything.
I'm saying in the rules of anime, your body size and your physical abilities are not always lined up.
It's like space.
Space.
It I don't know. It made me disinterested because this entire exchange just did not matter.
Let's talk about Hachiman, prisoner number 18. I didn't like him. I felt he was really, really one note of a villain, and the note that he was really sour. And like all the villains we fight in this season, which is only like 2, does not go down. Like they beat these villains over and over, and then it's like, oh my gosh, you got back up. And I had to write he gets back up so many times in my notes that at the end I was like, oh look, he's back again. Good.
Yep. I gotta say, I didn't like the setup nor the delivery for Hachiman's entrance and his entire combat. Why did Hoopa stay with Liang if Liang could easily handle the guard? Neither of them gave any indication that they knew Hachiman was there. The only legitimate justification might be that they felt some kind of aura or something and they knew Hachiman was hiding in the shadows. There was no reason otherwise for them to close that door since they dealt with the guard so easily.
By the way, this is
the talisman.
In this anime, or well, this season, they set the precedence of I can sense the aura of X, and that pissed me off.
And I don't even need a scouter.
Nicely done.
You can't sense godly power.
Yeah. Can you really?
You can't.
You can't? You can't.
You have to train yourself. It's a different thing. It's all different now. Okay, so the main group realizes, and I realized this before they did, Nico's missing. It's just not there.
Yes, I did too. I realized that as well.
And then we find out Upa and Liang used to work for Hachiman, and then the fight starts. And before the fight gets really going, Nico shows up. And he's like, I came to help you, master. And I love what they do to him. They put him in this tiny cave of the rubble. And like, no, you just hide in there and stay away from us. Because of his ability to be affected by people around him, his infection, however that works. And he's like sitting in this cave with his knees, his arms wrapped up.
He's like poking at the gravel.
He's all sad. I want to help.
Yep.
And then he starts smelling his drugs, which was really interesting that he can smell his drugs.
Yeah. Nico he's the anything character. He's Deus Ex Machina. They all have it to a degree, but yeah.
Right. In a comedy anime, that's fine, but we're in a battle anime now, and it's not so fine.
That's what I was saying. Yep, earlier. Yep. That's how I viewed it.
The Upa and Liang get hit with poison, so Nico jumps in, and the poison has no effect on him, and he's trying to help, but they're worried about it, and they're like, oh man, he's gonna get infected, and he's gonna overdo it because his body can only handle so much, but he will do whatever he sees other people doing. So he sees you karate kicking, he will, even though his body can't handle that because he's a sickly guy. Why does he have a ball attached? We never find out, but he uses it as a weapon here.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was really weird. I liked what they did when he. Well, we'll get to it. Go ahead.
Before we get to it, the only thing, we keep seeing flashbacks of Key because we keep seeing him, and then he's having flashbacks of his time with this group and meeting Upa and Liang and everything that went down with that. It basically leads to a long guilt trip for him. And it's pretty obvious from a mile away that he hasn't actually betrayed the group. that he's not the evil villain.
This was a way for him to get close to Hachiman to betray him, right?
Right. Because he made a poison specifically for him, which we find out.
But again, just doesn't
work. Yeah.
It's like, what?
Well, and then go on.
So Nico,
please.
Let's do Nico because we're gonna get to the poison in a minute anyway. Nico's medicine runs off, and we find out why Nico needs medicine is because he's actually a sadistic, sick monster. And right, because this other person,
this is the real Nico.
That's the real Nico, right? I'm not crazy here, and he's made that way because he's been experimented on by other drugs so much that they've twisted him up, and he needs other drugs on a regular basis to get him back to normal.
Yep,
or his version of normal. So this creepy Nico was kind of cool. The way they drew him, he was really sinister looking. His tongue gets really long and comes out of his body, his mouth.
Drools a lot.
It made sense why he has a tattoo on his tongue when that thing is like a foot long. So
basically, at this point, he's invulnerable.
So how could they even give him a tattoo? I don't know.
His dying scene, because they act like he's dying without his medicine. I actually liked it, especially like when he's calling out for his friends. It reminded me of that scene in Private Ryan where that guy dies. He's calling out for his mom. It's like, who you call out for when you're at your final moment. He's like, where are you guys? I'm like, oh, he wanted his family, and then he turns into a monster.
His family kept him stable.
The big fight happens. Lots of fighting, slammings in the wall, boom bang. Nico can attach himself to ceilings
by literally digging into them with his fingers, digging trenches. What did they say? He found a way to no longer be limited, right? Like everybody has a limit to what they can physically accomplish, and he found a way. Well, guess what? That's what happened to Saitama. If you look at what the doctor says in Saitama, the doctor wrote down and talked about how Saitama surpassed his limit, his barrier. So I wonder if this was a reference to Nico is like Saitama during this. But anyways.
Yeah, maybe they are just big One Punch Man fans, and that's where all these are just One Punch Man references.
I know I
am. So Ki shows up now, and he's like, okay, I'll handle Nico for you, Hachiman, and then he injects him with the medicine, which cures him, gets him back to normal. And then he injects Hachiman, which hits him with the poison. It doesn't quite work. I mean, it takes him down. They all have this reunion where they all yell at Ki, like, why'd you lie to us? Why'd you pretend to betray us? That was stupid. But they're secretly happy to see him. And then Hachiman gets back up again.
Yep.
And so they use this combo attack, and I thought they were going for something else. Okay, he threw the knives on the floor, and I'm like, oh, they're going to drive him back.
That's what I thought, too.
And that's going to be really cool. And they're like, no, poison comes out of it. And they just went for air poison. And then Hachiman strangles himself into unconsciousness.
Does not die.
No, which makes sense, because you cannot strangle yourself to death.
It does make sense, but with everything that he's done, I'm really surprised that these hardened criminals that aren't really criminals, but they've been in the criminal world for so long, didn't just go up and kill their criminal boss who tried to kill them and did all this crap.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I was like, oh, so that's what this is. I see.
I like Nico's interaction with Ki when he's like, thank you. And my kids are like, why is he mad at Ki? And I'm like, because Ki injected him with a needle, and he hates needles.
That's right. I didn't even catch that.
I think so. He keeps calling him scary and stuff, an old man. And he warms up to him a little bit later. But I was like, is he scared of him because he used a needle? And that was his big thing, is don't use needles on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he takes the pills.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So then we get the Honey and Troy saga of this adventure. You guys, okay, so last episode when we talked about Nanbaka, you guys said, I hope we know these characters. Did they redeem themselves at all? I think Troyce was a cool character. his ability was cool. I thought Honey's ability was stupid, and the fact that it had nothing to do with his hair really was made his hair even more stupid, because I thought for sure like he'd have tentacle hair or something. But Choice making a flamethrower and a bazooka was pretty cool.
The only thing I didn't like about Choice making the flamethrower and bazooka was that when they talked about how they would escape out of all the other prisons in the past, he said that, you know, with Honey's strings and my flamethrower and bazooka. And I'm like, wait, you made that because that's the parts that you found here. Why should I believe that you always find those parts or equivalent parts? Is this the only two things you can make out of anything in the world?
I caught that too. And I was like, that's odd. And then I just lived my life.
I can't do that.
No, but you're right. That doesn't make any sense that he talks about like bazooka and flamethrower is my power.
That's my powers.
You making stuff is your power,
That's
and it's
your
just
power.
Random. That's what you found.
You're like a gadgeteer. Exactly.
Or MacGyver.
Yes.
Yeah, how about you, Jason? What did you think?
I don't know. I thought, as far as character development, I thought they were stale. But seeing their abilities was neat. I thought they contributed well to the action of the anime. I thought the whole idea of these, obviously the reality of it breaks down. Like you have to watch it with, like this is fun. Because obviously, if Honey has no superpowers and he's trying to hold these strings with, like, are they diamond string? Are they
right?
Are they metal or is it yarn? Like what are these things made out of? Because they are not only cutting concrete, but they are then lifting it into place. So and also, like, if he doesn't have superpowers and he's holding these things with his fingers, he wouldn't have fingers anymore. But
at least they made him bleed
so frequently, so that it means nothing.
And also, no scars.
Just trying to help.
I did think it was neat to have the combo of I'll make a concrete barrier and you throw bombs in there. That was cool.
Deja vu. Drifters.
Oh yeah.
Remember the heavy infantry?
Right. Except that was cool.
That was cool.
No, I thought that was neat. And I liked the action of the strings. I thought that I like characters in different animes that's their thing, is that they put strings everywhere and then they use them to manipulate a battle. I forget which is it a Gameka kill?
Yeah,
kind of guy like that.
Yes.
I enjoyed that character.
Actually, when I was watching this, I was like, a Gameka kill string guy was way cooler.
Oh,
I just remember that thought hitting me.
Yes.
Well, and also it was better explained. You have a super weapon from an age gone by, like that. That's way more explainable than I found a bullet. Where'd you find a bullet in a prison?
Yeah.
And then I put a string attached. What?
That never runs out.
Right.
And I have ultimate precision.
They act like I have one of these bullets to use, and then he throws like 50.
Uh-huh.
That's so true. Yeah. So
even still.
I thought they contributed well to the battle and action part of the anime. I still don't care about them.
Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. I just wanted to say one thing, and that was the reason that the bleeding bothered me so much was because I keep seeing inconsistency in character healing speed. Jugo took so much damage, and yet the very next episode, which is right away, they're taking the bandages off and everything's healed. Liang takes a bunch of damages from the guard and he gets cut. And then in the next shot, his clothes, in the next shot, his clothes, I think they're still ripped, but his skin's not bleeding anymore. Or maybe his clothes are even repaired in one of the shots.
Right.
And I'm like, what am I looking at? And then you've got this guy who's bleeding all the time. Like, I'm bleeding. And people are always pointing out, oh, you're bleeding. The string is covered with blood. Right. And you're like, but that just really doesn't matter because
to continue with that consistency, you have two guards that had talismans on them that when the talismans are removed, like less than an episode later, they're up and walking around. Yamato took a couple hits from Hajime and he's out for the entire anime.
And Rock didn't even take any damage.
Yeah, Rock. And but he's and like they even pan back to the infirmary to show how much pain and agony there is. It's like what? It's so inconsistent.
You're absolutely right. And also, those talismans that those two had, those are weak talismans. It is made very clear to us that these talismans are talismans that force you to use chi, which is going to wipe out your body, because if your organs are not trained in using it, it burns them out.
Right.
And so, like, these are worse talismans. It should be even worse than that.
But those two guards, they're just up and running. That's fine.
Yep.
Okay, so my thoughts on Honey and Choice. I enjoyed their weird personalities. The obsession with women and the obsession with their own personal looks, and the fact that Choice can get Honey to do anything as long as he tells him what he's doing is unattractive. And they're so clearly, womanizers and skirt chasers, and yet they have this constant, "You're not looking pretty right now, dear."
Yes. Oh, God.
Okay, so I need to say this. The underwater scene where Choice gives a look to that guard pissed me off and made me so uncomfortable in my own skin. It's just,
I love that scene.
Watching? And then you have the stupid narrator come over. Why is this working? It's an anime. It's like,
exactly. That's word for word. Yep. I mean, we'll get to that scene,
defend
I
it,
agree
Troy.
with you.
I want to hear this.
Oh, I'll defend it when we get there, so I can have time to think about it. The first thing that happens to them is they get hit with a flood of water, that trap they hit, and Jugo's able to disarm it, but he drowns. I like that they had established, like, no, he will drown in a bathtub. We have to watch him, and they get hit with the water, and he instantly drowns. And no one wants to revive him, so they have to play paper, rock, scissors to see who does it, and it ends up being Honey. And they both wake up. We have the technical difficulty screen, and then Jugo's like, "Oh, that was the worst," and Honey's like, "No, that was the worst."
Yeah. It was just weird how they glamorized it. I'm like, I get it, it's comedy, but come on, guys.
Well, it's because he's a pretty boy. It has
right,
to
a
do
pretty
with
boy kissing
Honey and
Jugo.
Choice are these
not kissing, but
glamorous, pretty boys, and they ride that joke all the way.
They do, way beyond its value.
Maybe. But then they get attacked. Well, no, they find the dolls. They find the room with the doll storage, and Choice just starts tearing them apart and ripping into their organs. And we see kind of what they are. It doesn't explain how they work at all. But he's like, "Oh, look, they have organs. That's weird."
So here's a question for you. Okay, they had weapons inside them. Where did he find gunpowder? Where did he find materials to make explosives? Like,
maybe he's a chemist.
Chemical reaction to actually have it explode.
Maybe he's a chemist. Maybe he could distill the body down.
We are
right?
silly.
Yes, exactly. Ugh.
Is that really a bad mark for an anime that is being silly, though?
But they left silly behind in episode 4.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're trying to have their cake and eat it too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. All right, but then they're attacked by Goju, who is a former guard under Enki, who is a crossdresser just like Kiji is. And there's a pool under the floor that he swims in. He's a fish man.
Because so at first I saw him coming up out of the floor and I'm like, is he an SCP? Like, what? 059 is Radical Larry. He's the black goo dude that will come out of a wall and drag you into his own dimension.
Right.
I was like, is this a play on that? No way. And then all of a sudden it's revealed that there's water under the floor. It's
they show water sitting there on the floor tile and he comes out of it, and I was like, oh, he can turn the floor into water. So we have straight up super abilities now. We're going full on. And then later they're like, oh no, they're tiles. You can move them. There's a pool underneath. And then he's like, how did you find me? Maybe the hole you left in the frickin' floor.
Yeah. Yep.
I did like how they were a little consistent with it, where he threw the wrench. He's like, I missed. But in reality, it was jamming the floor, so he couldn't move the tile.
The first time they run into him, he manages to... He sends 2 more of the possessed guards after him, and they manage to get away from them. And then he catches them and grabs Jugo, which really pisses off Honey because he's had enough with this worthless guy. Even though... Which is stupid because he's the key. Like, it doesn't matter if you're done with his personality. If you want to win, you need the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Deal with it. Also, there's a really long scene where everyone calls people queers in this episode.
I probably laughed more in this than I did through any of the rest of it. This was hysterical to me.
It's not consistent, though, because Uno, who's like one of my favorite people, is that cross-dressing brother of Hajime, but these guys are queers.
Yes.
because of makeup or something.
Right.
Yep. Oh, it was great. It was great, though. It was really funny because, this is where you mentioned earlier where they asked, what color are your underwear? And Gojoy Fish Dude is saying, what did he say? They're blue or something like that?
No, that was Hajime's brother.
No, really? I thought it was Fish Guy.
No, it was way back in the beginning. Hajime's brother walks by and they start asking him.
They harass him.
He's like, my underwear is blue, and I'm not wearing a bra. Okay, so basically what happens from here on out, they just keep getting chased by this fish dude for a long time, and they keep fighting him off and escaping again until eventually Troyce and Honey decide they're going to fully take him on, and Troyce pulls out his bazooka and flamethrower. We learn, hey, as long as I have a screwdriver, I can build anything.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I liked as an ability. And then Honey uses his, which is he throws bullets that have string in them, and he's able to bring down ceilings.
Where were the bazooka and flamethrower all this time? Like, since he used them last, his character model didn't show them. Like, what pocket did he store those in?
Oh, is it worth to keep harping on the reality of this anime?
I hate that. I hate it so much in this anime.
Yeah, because we're going to talk about reality. He threw probably a half kiloton of TNT inside this.
You're right.
Box, and he like the moment he did that was the murder of 3 people. Like,
right. Yeah, and 2 of them are innocent guards.
Straight up murder, and none of them died.
Yep. Oh, water, magic water, not magic.
And wind,
and wind.
Even though their hands were bound.
Yep.
But it's fine.
Yep.
So yeah, they basically do this big scene where they trap all these enemies they have. They throw grenades in there, boom, 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 and then of course they come out.
Not a scratch.
Goju is like, "Oh, fine, this is a fight to the death." I'm like, what were you fighting to before?
Right.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Goju as a villain? I thought he was annoying. I thought he was the Frieza of lasting too long against the Super Saiyan.
Well, we now know that Frieza certainly can, if Frieza comes from the right dimension or universe.
Well, no, Frieza actually has... It doesn't matter. We're not talking about that.
Wrong anime. I don't know. Forgettable for me. I don't have a lot to say about Goju.
Yeah, I thought the interactions with him, especially the recognition of him, was entertaining. It certainly completely flipped on its head my perceptions of Troyce and Honey from the first season. Very, very funny. Weird scenes, but there was also the impotence. It's probably the best word for this character. Like, even with all the advantages, inability to do anything. And I also liked that it gave Kiji. It gave Kiji an opportunity to really display how powerful he was.
Right.
Because I'd never got that impression watching Kiji that he was that powerful. So beyond that, boring.
Well, I'll talk about their fight when we get to their fight. I wasn't happy with that fight. Like I said, I didn't like this character, and it got to the point where it was annoying that he kept coming back. Like, hey, okay, that's enough. Just make another character, Nanbaka. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You
got 5 levels. Take
Seriously.
your time.
My waterproof makeup. Ugh.
Oh God. I actually had to look up that hydrofluoric or whatever, that acid that they were talking about. It's like the acid of youth.
Don't scowl people use that.
Yeah, produce it. Don't buy it. Make it.
So guess what happens in the next episode? More of the same. They keep fighting this guy. The only difference is they send Uno and Jugo on. They're like, you guys go, we'll stall him. They're acting like this is going to be easy. We'll just stall him for a little bit and we'll run away. And they get beat pretty bad, even though no one gets hurt. And Jugo decides to come back, and he switches into his blade form, and he basically pulls an Inuyasha where he takes your attack and he doubles it back at you, and he wins. Awesome. Then he falls in the water and almost drowns.
Yeah. I thought it was actually really funny how they did this too, because after he falls in the water, Uno goes to immediately leap in. All this while, he's drowning. And Honey stops Uno, or not Honey, Troy stops him. And then time still goes by because they have a little short conversation. And then a few seconds later, Honey runs by, leaps in the water. I'm like, all that time, Jugo's drowning. It
was weird. Troy's is like, don't worry, Honey's going to get him.
It's like Honey's not even on screen.
And also, Honey hasn't liked Jugo, so it's a character moment, but it didn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Well, this was the moment where he was going to join the harem.
Exactly.
But he didn't. Yep. He pulled him out. He's like, you're still annoying. Doesn't like you.
I don't know, though, because, wasn't there this sort of aura and specialness during the conversation? It's just
the only funny part that I kind of enjoyed was when, there's this really serious thing going on, and then all of a sudden the two of them are like, wow, did you make these blades? Where did they come from? Are they really light? What are they made of? Carbon steel? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That was good.
That was pretty good, that it was just this really serious, we're going to battle moment, and then it was whoa, hold on, time out. We've got to examine these.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now things that really pissed me off. Goju comes back. The two guards are awoken from their trance, and they're like, who do we stop here? Do we stop the prisoners from another building, or do we stop this super secret prisoner who's super dangerous that we have locked in here? And he's like, well, yeah, but he used to be our friend, so...
Yeah, it is really dumb.
Yeah.
I was upset they all came back. I was upset that even though these guards are back to their normal selves, they're still choosing to be enemies. I was just like, move on from this fight. This was a 3-4 episode thing that
didn't need to be,
and especially on how this season ends,
Yeah. It's what I mean. The fight just seems to take way too long, so it's not a very good battle anime. The drama isn't really there. The emotional connection isn't really there, and the comedy's not really there. It's just kind of sporadic and spurty.
I do think the fight scenes were better this season than last season. I complained about them last season that some of them were... I do think they're 3 episodes long. They better be. But I thought they went more out of their way in them.
Yes.
For what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Jugo goes on. Uno is grabbed by Goju, with Uno telling him, oh, you can do it, my friend. And then they have to run from the guards who decide to help the villain.
Actually, there is a little bit of a funny scene that I chuckled was Uno's being drugged by this chain that Goju has put around his neck.
Mm.
And Troyce grabs Uno's feet and starts pulling the other way. And it just starts strangling Uno, and he's like, no, you're pulling the wrong way. And, the whole point was to make the chain taunt. So
you can...
Which then that pissed me off. I was laughing to immediately pissed off that, all of a sudden Honey's lines could cut, which I shouldn't have been surprised. It cut steel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he
that guy.
lifted the floor into a cage, and you're
Yeah, he cuts concrete all the time, so I don't know why wouldn't it be able to cut steel? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was a funny scene where he's just like, ah!
Yeah.
I was really confused with what was going on. I was like, did he get possessed all of a sudden? Why?
I was wondering, I was
He
like,
not
did he
pulling.
just turn sides?
I thought that they were trying to stretch the chain out until it broke, and I thought, how the hell can any of them have the strength or durability to withstand that? So, yeah.
That was a lot of thought for that quick scene.
Yeah, all of us thinking different things.
Yep. So Uno comes up with this plan. He's like, okay, I have an idea. So they run and they send Choice into the water. And he does that super adorable, complimenty look that can melt anyone's heart. And he's never used it on anyone but a woman before. But it still works on Koju because, you know, what he's into. Or because it's an anime and it's a superpower and that's what it works. But either way, he steals his keys. I thought it was funny that I like that they kept poking fun at Honey and Choice's looks. I think that joke is funny.
Like that was their weapon.
I you know, because Jeremy doesn't like these characters for that reason, but they're doing it on purpose. Like, yeah, isn't it stupid that they're these pretty boys? It's ridiculous. They're in on that joke, and I think it's funny. But that's me.
I guess they came off as one-trick ponies for so long with that, like in the first season.
True.
And then now
they're a one-joke pony for sure.
Yeah, and now seeing that they do have some other abilities, even though those abilities, well, one of them is okay, sort of, and the other one is total crap. It's a little bit easier to stomach, and it certainly, I agree, it was pretty funny.
Most of these characters are one-joke ponies. You know, Namato's the exercise guy. Jogo can't do anything. Uno thinks he's prettier than everyone, but he's not. And then there's the pretty boys who are obsessed with the way they look. So we're to the final episode. Finally.
Thank the Lord.
And they get Kiji these keys, right? Kiji gets out and he battles Goju, and they have this big, like, my powers versus your powers, but then mostly it just ends up with Kiji just slapping him and being like, this is stupid. Stop it. You're ruining your makeup.
Yeah, God.
Well, I disagree a bit. There was a nice message here. If you were paying close enough attention, his message was, you're going after this guy that will never acknowledge you, and you're chasing after a dream that is fruitless. Wake up.
That's true, because the whole reason he's doing this is to show Enki how he can be awesome too.
Right. But Enki Enki only cares about Enki.
Right.
And
that's a funny thing to say. Just so you know, that sounded very funny.
That was good. Should make a voice, like an audio clip of that.
Enki is as Enki does. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I see, and that's the thing that probably made this anime from a 2 to a 3 for me, is not that we've gotten to wrap up yet, but is it keeps through the midst of plot holes and bad timelines and bad jokes and not great battle anime. It has these nuggets of little pieces of wisdom that I really liked, that were well thought out in their placement.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think both seasons actually had them. So
after that big scene, we get the final scene of this anime, which is Jugo finally reaching Hajime's cell. And they have a little bit of a problem. So Hajime is about to blow his own arms off. I think we've already mentioned this.
That was funny.
He's like,
I'm not time to wait around here.
Yeah, I'm wasting time. Mm-hmm. I'm wasting time worrying if I'll have arms. You know, I don't have time for that. And Simone's like, you aren't serious. He's like, I'm super serious.
I'm going to show you how serious I am.
But Jugo shows up and he's gonna free him, but Simone can't know the secret because remember, Hajime's been hiding the fact that Jugo can get out whenever he wants because he doesn't want to get in trouble. And Simone has been suspicious of this. The whole first thing was like, I know you're hiding something. I know something's going on with those Nanbakas. And then Hajime's like, you know what though? You're here. You gotta do it. So he gets him out. He frees him. Hajime beats up like $5 in one punch. You see, like he is really powerful. And then they go to leave. They're gonna leave Simone there. And he's like, shouldn't we save him? Someone asked me to save him. He's a guard. I'm supposed to save him.
Yeah, he's like, I promised Liang I would free Goku.
Right. And Hajime's like, he sits there and thinks about it. It's gonna be more paperwork, and I'll get a bad mark on my report. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, let him out. And then he starts to let him out, and Simone instantly is like, I knew it. You were keeping a secret. You were going down for this. He's like, he punches him, knocks him out. He's like, never mind, we're leaving him here.
Yeah, that was good.
And then there's a lot of things that I liked and a lot of things I didn't like about this season of this anime. This ending is the worst.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are moments away from a boss battle. We got all our characters on the stage, and they end the season. They end the season with Hiji leading everyone else out of the basement, and they run into a army of dolls. We see Enki looking around, and then Hajime and Jugo are jumping out of the building towards Enki, or it's implied they are.
No, it's just an ending picture. It has nothing to do
them
with
jumping
the
for joy.
When Hiji comes across that army, like they're still Hajime and
4 or 5. They're on the bottom.
They're still fighting dolls there because like Jugo transforms, Hajime starts punching things like he normally does. And then they just end it. It's like
also the dog, the detective dog. He's like walking towards building 5.
He's coming to help because the radio announcer guy told him like, this is bad. We need help.
Yep. And Enki is coming out. He's not going back down. He's coming out. And so there's, that's leading to that confrontation. And then the like you say, the disc jockey guy he actually says, and Enki emerges or something like that as one of the concluding statements.
Yeah.
So there's like all of these really interesting conflicts coming up. And then they go, oh no, wait for January 2018.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
With how long 2 unimportant battles took, I can't imagine that they could wrap this up in a season.
No, the season 3 will probably be just the battles between these characters. I don't know. The humor in this just seems it's very insulting. I don't know. Maybe I'm taking it personally, but it's very much, we have all the power. We're going to dole things out in a way that is going to specifically play on the tropes that we know people hate. And we're going to make sure that we slap you in the face with these, and we remind you that we're slapping you in the face with these. Like in season 1, they did that with the flashback in episode 7. They deliberately call themselves out when they do this, and it's
There's
like
obviously examples of you being right. I do think some of the humor is funny, though. I won't fully agree with you. I still really like the first 2 episodes of the season because it was the silliness I liked from the first season, and I was into it.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that.
I won't say that it's completely that. I mean, I won't say that this is the rule. I think that it's strong enough that it bothers me. I don't like it that much.
Before I pull us into final reviews, I'm going to mention one thing. I've been waiting to mention it for a while now. Did you guys like that he got feet blades? Because I believe someone complained about that last season.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good call. Have on his feet, and he got all these like claws that came out. I was like, oh. And it made me wonder, can he form them in any form he wants, and he just is choosing swords?
I wonder what his head blade's going to be.
I just had to ruin it. He's going to have a big pyramid.
Yes.
Pyramid head.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We'll be able to change back. There we go.
Yep.
I don't think I can squeeze any more out of these guys that is appropriate. So let's go to final reviews. Jeremy, go ahead and go first.
I enjoyed the combat scenes for what they were. I didn't enjoy the overall length of time it took to take down every villain. I wish that they had been a little bit better with their parody. I mean, I think it's fair to say that. It's hard to know though, because every studio is different and they're aiming at different things.
And everybody's sense of humor is different, but
yeah,
it's fair for you. You're here to give your opinion. If it didn't click with you, or like you said, even felt like it was dumbing it down for you, offending you by not being good enough.
Well, by deliberately choosing to use comedy that is going to play to things that the audience doesn't like. Like if you know that this thing is something that pisses off a lot of audience members, then you make sure that you do that, and then you say, ha, 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 look what we did. It's like that's the jerk in the room where you're the butt of every joke. And
this is the troll anime.
Yes, thank you. This is the troll anime. And so for that, I got to say, I'm still going to give it a 3, actually. It doesn't deserve a 2 from me. It deserves a 3 because I was interested in what was happening. It just never got out of 3. So 3 Bakas.
Okay.
For me, it's definitely a low 3. I didn't like the characters that they took out of commission for the entire thing. And I didn't like the new ones that they brought in. They were fairly interesting to a point, but I didn't care about them. And again, the little nuggets of wisdom that they would spread throughout was great. The situational humor was great. I think if they didn't try to be such a silly, outlandish anime, but then switch it up to battle anime and just left the situational humor to fall where it did, I think this could have been a really, really good anime. I really do. Unfortunately, it just tried to be too many things to too many people, and it fell short because its storyline was. They used the we're a comedy anime to skirt a lot of storytelling. What's the word I'm looking for? Integrity.
Bananas.
No. Storytelling integrity.
Right.
They didn't have to own anything they said, nor did they have to explain anything. But they weren't silly enough to get away with it like they did in the first season. So
apparently I'm going to surprise you guys. I'm only giving it 2. I really liked the first 2 episodes. It was giving me the silly that I liked. The only thing that I really enjoyed about it was that the characters that I had liked from the first season were still around. I had come into this to record this podcast thinking I was going to give it a 3, but after talking it out and remembering back on those battles and how long and drawn out they felt, how generic they felt. That's the word I've been looking for all night. Generic. This felt so generic to me. And that ending, I'm really disappointed that I watched this. Actually, it's not something I'm super fan of. Season 1 was good. Stop there.
Yeah.
If you like silly anime.
Yeah, if your sense of humor is mine or you're a 15-year-old girl, about the same thing right now. Okay? That's fair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm actually coming underneath you guys because I didn't think I would, but you guys kind of talked me down, and then you didn't come with me.
It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's all right.
If you disagree with our opinions, if this was your anime, this season was your jam, we'd love to hear why. And we have no judgments. We disagree with each other all the time, and yet we still. I like Jeremy, and so There's no judgment here, and the fact that we have different opinions is the whole reason we make this podcast. So we'd love to hear yours. So you can reach us on our Twitter at Baka Podcast, or send us an email if you want to make it nice and wordy. Our email is theanimebakaclub at gmail.com, or you can leave a comment wherever you found this podcast, whether it be YouTube, iTunes, or whatever. I don't even know where it all goes. I think we're on Tumblr. I put us on Tumblr sometimes. You can leave us Tumblr notes.
Do we go to SoundCloud?
Is that how Tumblr works? No, SoundCloud costs money.
Oh,
we're
Archive.
poor.
We're it's true.
You can put like 2 or 3 hours on SoundCloud for free, and then you gotta start paying. And
That's like one episode for us.
Yeah. We have too much to say that has
Okay.
no substance.
Well,
So
what are we watching next week?
what are we watching next week? That's what I was. Stole it. Dang it. We're watching the anime you chose, Jason.
Aha!
Bungou. So you know it's gonna be good. Bungou Stray Dogs. We are going to watch both seasons, not in one sitting. So we're watching season 1. We are planning to watch season 2. The general reviews we've seen have said that the first season is not as good as the second season. That the season 1 is mediocre, but we have high hopes for it. It is a tale of people in an occultic investigation group, but they basically have superpowers, and they're battling bad guys with superpowers, is what I've seen from trailers and whatnot. So
It sounded so much like a Cult 9 until you added the superpowers.
Right.
I'm so glad there's superpowers.
well, honestly, when you read the description, you could almost not tell them apart. Their descriptions are very similar, but watch like a trailer and they're nothing alike from what I
Yeah. I watched the trailer, and I'm actually excited to see this.
Yeah, this is
Hey, Jason picks a good one in the past like 3 months.
this is
Let's hope so.
this is classic our pick anime superpowers battling. We're getting back to what we know, what we're comfortable with. And we need it because we stepped outside the box. We need to come back to our comfort zone for a little bit before
It's scary out there.
before my pick comes up again.
Oh,
Right?
No, not right. Shame
I'm
on you.
so picking a 2-season anime.
Which it's fine to do. So
Yeah.
We actually like the 2-season animes except for this one. So that is all we have to say on Nanbaka, and may we never speak of it again, unless they make a season 3 and it goes back to the silliness. Then I'm in.
It's on the pile.
It's I'm filing this with Kisniver, so
Yes.
You gave it a 3. Say goodbye, you guys.
thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Sayonara.